Hello and welcome to the Remedy Fibers podcast, a podcast about knitting and crochet hosted by me, Jillian. If you're new here, welcome, and if you're a returner, thank you so much for coming back to my channel. Today I have a quick check-in, just wanted to show you what I'm working on, some future projects, how to conquer the holiday blues, as well as if your knitting and crochet mojo has gone down the drain, some tips to prepare for this winter season. Today I had to change my location because it is raining for the first time in a very long time, and it is a gloomy rainy day. Me and Benny are gonna stay inside, knit, spin, do all the relaxing things on this Saturday afternoon. But if you're new here, I live in Northern California with my husband and dog Benny. I love everything yarn related, and I hope you stay for my yarn journey. But the holiday blues has been hitting. I don't know about you, but it's been a little bit harder to knit, a little bit harder to get creative. But good thing spinning has been keeping my creativity mojo going, as well as this podcast, making sure that I have content for all of you to see. And speaking of content, I don't know about you all, but watching all of these knitting, crochet podcasts has been a little bit overwhelming. I do enjoy watching the Vlogmas videos that people are posting, but it's a bit much, and I feel like my productivity is going down the drain and everyone's just going uphill, and it just feels overwhelming. So if you feel like that, definitely hit that like button, because I know I'm not the only one out there. But I do know that being a podcaster also contributes to all the videos and all of that, so I do acknowledge that I contribute to that. But hopefully this video brings you a little bit calm and peace during all of the things that are happening in our lives. So today we are gonna get started with what I'm wearing. I'm wearing the Felix cardigan, and I love it. It's my go-to. I love it so much that it's starting to pill, and I think I need one of those pill vacuumer things or tools to kind of get all that pilling out. But I would make this again, and it's probably something that I would cast on in the future months. I do have to be conscious of how many wool and winter things I'm creating, because summer does come fast for me, and so I have been thinking starting some summer projects, some spring projects now, so I can have them for next season. But as for what I'm working on, I am working on a spinning project. It is the best spin project, the most consistent that I've ever had, and I'm really impressed by how good I have gotten in such a short period of time. There still is much for me to learn, and I'm not an expert. I'm kind of just figuring out as I go. I have been watching some more spinning podcasts to kind of learn a little bit more, especially some tools that I need to figure out how much yardage I actually have, what kind of twist I'm actually doing, and we're just gonna figure it out. But it has been my saving grace. It's so meditative for me, so relaxing. If I'm not in a knitting mood or if I'm really stressed out, it kind of gets me into this Zen-like mindset, especially watching Bling Empire on Netflix. It's my go-to reality show right now. They have me up till midnight watching, cracking up in the house, and so I've been spinning while watching that. And so this is what my current spin project looks like. So every month I receive a wool package from Paradise Fibers, and I skipped the month of December because I'm still working on October's. I didn't anticipate how much time it was going to take for me to spin this, and so I'm thinking this might be fingering. I'm not quite sure, but this is going to be one part of my 3-ply. So this bobbin is filled. I'm working on my second bobbin and then eventually my third one, and so it's been really fun and relaxing to work on this. Let me show you how I've split this for my 3-ply. So when I received the wool, I immediately split into 3 sections just so I don't forget that part, so I can have a somewhat equal ply. And so I showed you what it looks like on the bobbin, but this is how I have split it. Very little pieces. I don't even know how to explain this of what I did, but I just broke it down. So this is going to fill up the second bobbin. I'm going to do the same process for the third bobbin, and then I'll try to record so you can see what it looks like once I have it 3-plied spun. So I'm excited for that project, but it is taking much longer than I anticipated. I think it took me about 4 to 5 days to spin this, and this is a lot of wool. I hope it's enough to make something more than a hat or a scarf, but we'll see. So that's the only spin project that I have. I do see some wool in my future. There is a local yarn shop, not local, it's about an hour away, that sells wool roving from Nerdy Fibers. I believe that's the dyer, and she's local to me from Sacramento, and beautiful, stunning wool. This wool is a bit muted for my color choice selection, So I'm really looking into some of her hot pinks, her bright purples. If I'm gonna spin, I want them neons. It's just really brightening up my spin life, and that's something that I want. I would say probably in the next few weeks or months. I definitely see that in my future. But as I mentioned, it's been a little bit hard to kind of get into crafting. It's been hard to think about what I want to spin and create next, especially that I've had so much on my queue and kind of have been unmotivated. So I decided to push through that. Let me show you what I'm working on right now. This is the Trilo tea by Sachiko Burgin. I talked about this before. So I finally decided to gauge swatch. Actually, let me show you my gauge swatch. Hold on one second. So this is the gauge swatch. I actually had to make two because the pattern calls for a US 7 and I was not meeting gauge. So I thought I had to go down a needle size, realized I wasn't meeting gauge, so I had to go up a needle size. Thank goodness, because I did not want to knit on little needles. I really am looking for those simple gratification projects, done easy, quick. And so I switched over to a US 8. Met gauge, wet blocked it just in case it grew because this is the first time that I'm working with this wool. This is the wool that I'm working with. It is spinning wool and it is 100%, not sure what it is because it's in another language, but it has 330 yards. Oh, it's 100% pure wool, and this is in the lace weight, made in Denmark. And so since it's the first time that I've ever worked with this type of wool, I didn't know if it was going to grow. I didn't know how it was going to be as the final project, so I did do a gauge swatch, and so this is how it looks. And I met gauge on the 8s. So I'm really enjoying this pattern. I've already worked through the lace section and the, I'm not quite sure what you call this, but the pattern on the bottom. It is a bottom-up sweater, and now I just have to knit all the way up until I start for a sleeve separation. So that one's been really fun actually. It's been keeping me up at night knitting away, and it's exactly what I need, especially on bigger needles. Sadly, I do have a failed project. As you know, I was working on my Ripple Halter by Jessie May. I did not gauge swatch. A lot of things went wrong, and this is what we have left of it. I tried to save it. There was no saving it. I dropped stitches. It was bad, so let me try it on for you just for joke purposes. So this is what we're working with. And looking back on it, I decided not to follow the pattern. I wanted to stop the dip in the side seam. They had side boob action. I wanted to modify that, and by doing that, it threw off my count, it threw off my pattern, and I said, you know what, it's a learning experience, let's just continue with it. And it just didn't work out. Everything that could go wrong went wrong. And sad to say, I'm not a fan of this yarn. This is Tributary and it's single plied. It's not fun to work with. So I'm thinking of scratching Ripple Halter, maybe trying that again in the future when I calm down from the anger that I have of making it. Not saying it's a bad pattern, it's just me. Everything is on me. And maybe hold this double with something else, make a beret, make another hat, make something else. But I'm gonna hold off on it because it knotted. It was just terrible. So we're not gonna continue. We're not gonna continue. And every time I have a pattern that I'm not having fun working on it, or mistakes are happening and I'm getting frustrated, I just put it aside until the inspiration hits again. And right now the inspiration is not hitting. So we're gonna move past this, and hopefully that normalizes that this happens to everybody. Mistakes, issues, and sometimes you do have to rip back. So now this is the part of future cast-ons, and I'm having a little bit of a stump of how to move forward. I did wind up the yarn that I got from Spain. This is the Lana yarn from when I went 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, and I wound this up so that I can make another full pullover sweater by Wanipa Juncker. But I'm focused on my Trilo tee, and if you're new to the podcast, I like to focus on 1 to 2 projects at most, and right now my energy is focused on my Trilo tee, just because I haven't really finished anything in a while. I have, that's a lie, but to my standards, and I just want to focus my energy on one thing, complete it, focus on another, complete it, just so that I know that I'm feeling like I'm getting somewhere in my crafting mojo. And I do have some fingering weight yarn leftovers from some old projects, and I'm not quite sure what to do with it. I'm thinking of making more socks with them, or making a doggy sweater. I don't know. What do you do when you have leftover sock yarn? And this is quite a bit of yardage in these skeins. So I'm thinking of combining them all. I think the colors really go together. But some things to just kind of get me out of my normal routine, trying something new. This is kind of where my head is. And then I also thought of casting on this birthday yarn that I got back in October or September. This is Art Yarns Merino Cloud, and I was planning on making one of the Ozetta tees. I can't remember what it's called. But as I was looking at the pattern, it's short sleeve, and this is wool. So one, I wouldn't wear it in the summertime, and two, it's cold, so I wouldn't want short sleeves in the winter time. So it's just not for me. So I was looking on Ravelry to see for fingering. I have about 1,200 yards in this yarn in total. So if you have any recommendations for a fingering sweater, wool sweater, so comment down below. I will pick one of the comments on what I should make with this. I always love seeing what you recommend and then challenging myself to do it. So I'm open to ideas. I just want to put this yarn to good use because it is so beautiful. And that is all that I have for right now. I have a few more skeins to work with, a few more projects. I did purchase some yarn, but it's a secret. I'm not going to tell you what it is yet. I realized I was going to end the video without talking about how to survive the holiday blues. I feel like this time of the year, especially if you're far from family or unable to travel this holiday season, it's been a little bit difficult to kind of keep that crafty mojo, especially when you have everything from work and life. So some things that I've been trying to do when I have lost my enthusiasm to knit or crochet has been trying a new craft. So for me, that's spinning, that's learning something brand new, getting out of my head, getting out of my comfort zone. And so maybe that's something that might encourage you, whether it's embroidery or painting or picking up a new skill. I feel like that could kind of boost your creativity so that you can get back into the things that you do enjoy. As for picking up a new skill, something else that I tried this week was making my own homemade face mask. And I was about to throw out an avocado because it started getting all old and it didn't look too great, and realized that I also had honey. So I said, an avocado and honey face mask. I googled it. It is a thing and there are many benefits. It also is a natural moisturizer. And let me tell you, when I did that, my face was glowing. It was one of the best things that I've tried. It didn't have any chemicals, obviously, just avocado and honey. And it was a little bit weird to put on my face, but afterwards I didn't even have to put any lotion on my face, which I normally have to do, because my face was glowing. If I have a video, I'll insert it here just so you can kind of see the after effects. But I will mute myself because I was extremely excited and screaming that I looked so good. So definitely try something like that. And one thing that has kind of piqued my interest was kind of thinking about how to make your own lotions, your own lip balm, things like that. So something I want to explore in the future, just for like the naturals, the natural way of doing things. I also have been doing a lot of Netflix and knitting. I have been watching the Bling Empire. I probably said that earlier. But if you have any reality TV shows or movies that you recommend that you've recently watched, definitely comment down below so we can all see what we're missing out on. I definitely love reality TV, especially when I'm in the holiday blues. Something to make me laugh, something for me to just say what is going on in the rich and the fabulous. I also binged and watched Wednesday, the new series on Netflix. It was so good. I recommend it 10 out of 10. It was a little bit on the scary side for me, but I really enjoyed it and highly recommend. And last but not least, I have visited my local library and got so many books. It's been so fun to read and just get back into that. It's something that I'm on and off again, especially this year. I haven't really been reading as much as I did in the prior year. But let me show you what books I've picked up because some of them, so good. So good. So these are some of the books that I picked up at the library to help boost my spirits. I love falling in love with a new book, a new genre. So once I read these, I can let you know how they go. Right now, I am reading You've Reached Sam, the first one here, and I'm really enjoying it. It's such a great story about grief and romance. And I can also list one of my favorite YouTube podcasters that does book reviews with main characters of diverse backgrounds, something that I do enjoy and something maybe can inspire you for these holiday blues. Well, that's all that I have for this week. I hope that you enjoyed this video and hope that you and your family are happy, healthy, and safe. I hope to see you next week, and take care. Bye.